car breaks down somewhere remote?
Yeah, there are many places in the United States where your cell phone will not work, especially if you're driving to the mountains or some remote area on vacation. There are a lot of beautiful places in America to go, but many of them don't have very many services or cell phone service.
Yeah.
So really before you go on such a trip, it's good to prepare. So make sure you have flares in your car. So those are those things that you light on fire to show that there's an emergency that you can put on the road if you get into an accident.
So you don't
or
need to
if you
throw it
see
into
another
the air?
accident. No, not in the air, but
Okay.
you put a flare on the road.
So
you
people
can
will
light
see
it.
that?
So people will see the accident if it's at night.
Yeah.
Have a good map with you. Nowadays, people really rely on the maps on their phones.
Yes.
It's a good idea in the United States to have a paper map in your car. If you're have maps for the areas where you're traveling. Because if your cell phone doesn't work, you might get lost.
So we need to learn to read the map.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Okay.
So, yeah, but a lot of people do need to learn to read maps nowadays. But also, when you're driving, pay attention to how far it is between cities. Because you might, in some places, it might be 150 miles before the next gas station. So if you pass through a town and you only have a quarter tank of gas, you might not make it to the next gas station, especially in the West. In the western United States, states like Idaho and Nevada, Wyoming, Utah, Montana, you can go hundreds of miles without a gas station.
That's right.
So that's good to know. Also, if you get in an accident and there's nobody around, like you hit a deer, hopefully your car will still work and you can move to the next gas station or to the mechanic. You can, if another car comes by, usually they'll stop to help. Americans are very helpful. People, if there's an emergency, most people will stop and try to help or give you a ride. What else?
But if you see some house like around the farm,
you might go to a house too.
Is that not dangerous? Going to knock the door?
No, I wouldn't be too nervous about that, especially if it's an emergency. People will understand, and again, Americans are pretty helpful, welcoming people.
That's good. Okay, then do you also give us other tips for like driving in the U.S.?
What other tips? I would recommend there's, how to say this? There are rules of the road, but then there are also unofficial rules of the road. So, rules of politeness in traffic. So, one big thing is people don't like it when you tailgate in America.
What does that mean?
So in a lot of busy cities, tailgating is when you follow very closely behind the car in front of you.
Okay, that's right.
But Americans mostly like to give quite a bit of space on the highway, even on freeways. And there's kind of a rule. So we use miles per hour. So most freeways you can go 60 miles per hour. There's a rule where if you're going, for every 10 miles per hour, you should leave one car length between you. So if you're going 60 miles an hour, 6 cars should fit between you and the next car.
It's like a long distance.
It is a long.
One car to another.
It is, but if you're going 60 miles an hour and that car stops suddenly, it's going to take you that long to stop, because it can take you 100 feet or 150 feet to stop your car if you're going 60 miles per hour. So so it's has to do with safety, but in the United States people expect that extra distance, so that's polite. And it's also against the law. to tailgate.
Yes.
So if a policeman sees you tailgating on the freeway,
they can
pull you over and give you a ticket.
Okay.
So that the rule they generally give, and I think nowadays the rule's even farther, but when I was learning, the rule is 1 car length for every 10 miles per hour.
Did you do that when you were driving in the US?
I do, yeah.
That's nice, you're a good driver.
Some other rules. If it's busy on the road, so say one freeway or one road is coming into another and they're merging, we call that merging traffic.
Yes.
So there's many lanes and the road becomes smaller. So it's polite to let people in.
Okay.
And I think that's because everybody recognizes it helps things go faster if everybody's polite.
Okay.
And so if somebody's trying to get in front of you, it's impolite to rush ahead of them, but it's polite to let them in. Okay. And usually it just works better if people are polite that way. It decreases your stress on the road.
That's right.
But especially in busy cities, that can be important.
So like everyone knows, like you need to be really polite when you're driving on the road, especially in the big city.
Because if you feel very competitive, it can be more dangerous. And so there's kind of a rule, it's kind of the zipper rule. So if you can imagine a zipper on your clothes, so that's how cars would merge with each other. It's like you kind of take turns. So that's an important part of politeness. Any other tips?
Another thing, because like in Taiwan on the road we do have a lot of like bicycles, motorbikes. So would they what do people do?
Good question, because I ride a bicycle, so this is important.
Do you ride a bicycle in Taiwan?
Not in Taiwan, but back home in the U.S. Motorcycles you treat exactly like a car. So if a motorcycle's in front of you in the lane, you have to pass them just like you pass a car. So wait until it's clear, and then you can pass around. So you don't want to just pass a motorcycle. You you treat them exactly like a car.
Even though they are tiny?
Even if they're tiny. Because usually a motorcycle drives in the middle of the lane in the United States. They don't drive on the right side like they do here. But we don't have as many motorcycles and scooters as there are here. Bicycles, similar. The law is if the bicycle is riding in the lane with you, you should also treat it like a car. So you have to slow down behind it. You can't just drive around it. If another car is coming and the bicycle's here, you should wait until the car goes by before you go around the bicycle. So that's actually a law.
Good to know.
Another law is most places you have to leave at least 4 feet, so a little over a meter between you and the bicycle when you pass it. So you need to give them room.
So we cannot ask them to go down the side of the road?
Well, many places, many cities, there is a shoulder that the bicycles ride in. So the shoulder is that empty space next to the lane.
Yes.
But many places that don't have those, the bicycles have to share the road with the cars. So if they're in the shoulder, then it's okay, but you still give them that 4 feet of distance. So again, over a meter of space. Other rules. With pedestrians, pedestrians also have to follow the laws, so they should cross in crosswalks, they cross the street in crosswalks, they have to wait for the light, but cars should also wait for pedestrians to cross the street. So it's the law in the United States, if a person is walking in the crosswalk, cars have to wait for them
to cross the street
before they can cross the intersection.
Wow.
And that's at a stop sign. Again, I noticed here there's not many stop signs. I don't think I've seen one stop sign.
I don't think we have stop signs in Taiwan. Yeah, this is the first thing when I was in the US, I was pretty surprised about stop sign.
So it's important to know the rules of stop signs.
Yeah.
So if two people come to an intersection at the same time and there are stop signs, the person that gets there first gets to go first.
Oh, okay.
But if they come at the same time, or if there are many people at the stop sign, the person on the right always gets to go first. So that's called right of way. So at a stop sign, you just remember the right has a right of way.
Okay, that's right.
So you let the person on the right go first.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for giving us so much useful
My pleasure.
information.
I hope it helps your students who are traveling to America.
Yeah, I think it's really important for these students to understand these rules before they starting aboard.
Yes.
And then they won't be too shocked when they're driving there, or they won't get any tickets.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah.
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.